I have never been more proud in my life to be a New Orleanian and to be from this incredible city. We are one team, we're one voice, we're one fight, and we're one city. We rise and we fall together. For 2.5 years, we all prepared for this event. And make no mistake about it, the city of New Orleans hosted a spectacular Super Bowl week. And the city of New Orleans was the winner. The power outage was an unfortunate moment for us, and you can be sure that we'll get to the bottom of it. But 34 minutes of darkness will never overshadow or outshine the city of New Orleans and how we performed this Super Bowl week. 294 years of culture and our people make this city great. The team of professionals who are standing behind me make this city great. Across the world, people saw a city that has been built back better than ever before. Commissioner Goodell praised New Orleans for its triumph of spirit. He said, quote, "You inspired a nation. You taught us all how to deal with adversity and tragedy." I agree. Other high-ranking officials said, "I have heard nothing but the highest compliments from the city, from fans and partners for the game and the surrounding events. There is nothing the people of the city of New Orleans cannot achieve." I agree with that. But I agree with this also that we read on Twitter. Who hasn't blacked out in New Orleans before? I'll let that hang out there for a minute. It takes an unbelievable number of people to pull an event like this off. The New Orleans Police Department had over 1,200 officers working 12-hour shifts, complemented by 300 officers from the state police, Jefferson Parish, and other regional law enforcement agencies. Hundreds of federal agents from a number of law enforcement agencies were with us. City, state, and federal teams worked over 4,500 hours in the Emergency Operations Center last week alone. The New Orleans Fire Department responded to over 1,000 incidents, checked and permitted 229 tents, and 5 pyrotechnic shows. 150-plus EMS folks worked to provide extra coverage in the French Quarter and CBD and made over 500 transport. Over 90 city and DDD employees worked to clean the streets. Approximately 70 Department of Transportation and Development staff were dedicated to cleaning up the highways. 120 from the staff of the Public Works installed over 1,500 parking signs and did street maintenance, and dozens of employees from other departments worked hard as well. Over 160 staff worked around the clock at the airport, making sure visitors and residents departed smoothly. Yesterday, we handled a record of 40,561 passengers, which left the city yesterday alone. And ladies and gentlemen, the average wait time was 10 minutes. Wow. For 2 hours in Concourse D, the wait was 45 minutes. The average for the entire day was a spectacular 10 minutes. And I can't just thank the folks at the airport for working so hard and all of the volunteers. SMG and Centerplate had over 5,000 employees combined on the Superdome campus on game day. The Regional Transit Authority had a staff and equipment online and provided 266,544 trips last week. The big takeaways from this event were obvious to many people. This was the third most watched event in television history, watched by more than 108 million viewers. In addition, hundreds of hours of positive portrayals of the city on live broadcasts on CBS, ESPN, NFL, and other networks. We hosted over 5,200 members of the media from around the world. Over 150,000 people visited inaugural Super Bowl Boulevard, which is a free event for our residents and visitors to enjoy, exceeding anyone's expectations. And Quinn Davis is here, who helped produce that event. Hey, Quinn. Hey, nice to see you. So the economic impact was $432 million. There were dozens of stories of men and women in New Orleans and small businesses on the world stage. And we completed the first ever Super Saturday of service with 5 Nord sites, getting over an additional $2 million in improvements on top of other capital improvements that were on the way. And again, I want to reiterate, all of the projects for the game were done on time. They were not done in time just for the game or for the game, but they were done as part of the rebuilding of the city of New Orleans. Even prior to the Super Bowl, we completed over $333 million of projects in every neighborhood in the city. Then we used the Super Bowl as an opportunity to focus on the downtown and the French Quarter last. And our projects were complete in time for the big game, even though some people said it could not be done or that it would not be done. But today, they are there, and they will be enjoyed for years to come. $1.3 billion in public and private investment overall, $305 million in the beautifully renovated and now thoroughly enjoyed airport, $336 million of renovations in the Superdome, $93 million of renovations in the convention center, highways, streets, sidewalks, streetcars, streetscapes, $75.6 million. Private sector hotel renovations in excess of $400 million. Museums, mostly the World War II, $300 million worth of improvements over the years. And we now have 1,300 taxi cabs in compliance with the new regulations. I cannot stress enough, this was an unbelievable team effort. We have, in the past 14 months, hosted an unprecedented string of events, 25 of them since the New Orleans Bowl in 2014, including the BCS Championship, the Final Four, Navy Week, Sugar Bowls, Essence, and more. And for those of you that are counting, we're rolling into the second week of Mardi Gras next year, into the Zurich Classic, the Jazz Fest, and Essence right after that. The people of New Orleans performed spectacularly well. The city shined on the world stage, and I have no doubt that we will do so again. Thank you all very much, and I want to turn this over now to Jay Cicero, who is Executive Director of the committee. He did a spectacular job, and then we'll call up the speakers in line after that. Jay Cicero.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We left one off. In a couple months, we have the NCAA Women's Final Four coming back to New Orleans for the third time. What an incredible week it was. I can't tell you that how much and how proud I am to have guided this ship of people. And that's really what it is. This is a ship that everybody aboarded, everybody bought into the mission, and everybody said, "How can we help?" And we said, "This is what we need you to do." So that's what I do most, and I do best. Is I ask people to do stuff, and they do it. And that's a great place to be for not only me, for our organization, the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation. I can't thank our executive committee and the folks that served on the Super Bowl executive committee enough. The New Orleans Saints, the Sports Foundation, James and Mary, y'all did an incredible job. We asked Quint Davis to produce Verizon Super Bowl Boulevard for us. What an incredible event it turned out to be. The man has the golden touch, that's for sure. We had over 17,000 people sign up to be volunteers, filling 13,000 shifts throughout the week. I mean, we have never seen that kind of turnout and enthusiasm to volunteer for any event here in New Orleans. And so we're very proud of all that. The Convention and Visitors Bureau, Tourism Marketing Corporation did an incredible job. This is a real collaboration of groups and individuals like we've never seen before. And that's really what it takes to produce something as special as a Super Bowl. We're hopefully able to use this model for many events in the future, and hopefully be invited to bid on the Super Bowl again this October, which would be for the 2018 Super Bowl, which would coincide with the tricentennial of New Orleans. So that could be a very special year, and the pinnacle of events, or one of the pinnacle events, could be, again, the Super Bowl returning to New Orleans for the 11th time. So thank all of you here, and thank you for all your cooperation and your hard work and your dedication to making New Orleans, and putting New Orleans in the best light, and making this city everything it could be. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I'm going to invite up the honorary co-chairs of our host committee, who have just been spectacular ambassadors for the city of New Orleans, and who really just every day, all day, worked really hard to make New Orleans shine on the world stage. James Carville and Mary Madeline.
You'll recall at Quint's first extravaganza, where is he? The first one you did, everything he touches is wonderful. We asked you, we implored you to help tell our story, to show the world who we are and what we are, and you did. So thank you. You did a great job doing your part of it, and the whole world needs to see what The mayor has been telling us for years that this is the walk version of one team, one fight, one voice, one city. That transcends a Super Bowl, that transcends any event. That's the future of the country. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I just know better than to start thanking people because y'all never end and I'll forget somebody, but I'm going to single one group out, and that was our volunteers. I think our volunteers did an unbelievable job, and we we had 17,000 offered to volunteer. We deployed 6,000 volunteers, and we would have put a lot of effort in it. Disney training, we had everything is, and they made substantial commitments. So I just really want to single those people out and understand that they did this for one simple reason, and that is they love this city. And that's what motivated them the whole way, and that's why we did this. My only other thought is that now we have all these pictures of the commissioner that says, do not serve this man, after what he said after the Super Bowl. I think they ought to take that, do not serve this man, says you'll never pay for another drink in this city again. Thank you all very much.
And everybody knows a Super Bowl is not possible if you don't have a team. And Rita and her grandfather and Gail and the entire Benson family not only have provided us a team, but a great team and unbelievable leadership for this Super Bowl, and will help lead the way to the Super Bowl in 2018 for our 300th anniversary. Please help me welcome Rita Benson LeBlanc.
I just want to emphatically thank everyone in the city of New Orleans and the state of Louisiana and our entire region. Everyone who had touch and participation in the rebuilding of our community is to be commended. This is the most emphatically incredible experience that we could share with the ownership, that we could share with the world. I'm standing in front of a group of people that were selfless, committed, and did what they did to make this game flawless because of the love and commitment that we have for our culture and our way of life. And there is no place like that in the entire world. There is no place that could pull people together and to have a perfectly executed event of this size and scale, and also in the middle of Mardi Gras. If you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe in what you can accomplish on or off the field, and work or at home, the people, the stories continue to come out. We will be celebrating this moment, this accomplishment together for decades. I am deeply committed to bringing the 2018 Super Bowl to New Orleans, and every owner is emphatically aware of that, and also the media that we share this message with. But just the warmth, the authenticity, the stories of regular New Orleans people giving someone a ride because there wasn't a taxi standing right there. These are incredible stories, and it only happens in New Orleans. I'm proud, I'm privileged to be here. I love all these people that are behind me. Chief Surpass and the port, everyone, the police officers who kept traffic flowing. I think that was the most incredible thing, that nothing pinch pointed and everyone was able to enjoy all the events that were put off and out. So the authenticity of the experience for our guests is something that only we could create. Thank you, Mayor, for your leadership. Again, like James said, you can't single one person out, but Jay Cicero really is our quarterback. And just like with the Saints, if you have a quarterback like Drew Brees, you can accomplish anything. And Jay has been patient and inspirational, and we can't wait to work on the next events, all of us together. Thank you so much.
You, Jay. Now, you hear me talk a lot about downline logistics, vertical and horizontal integration, and the back of the house side of what we do. And so the next couple of speakers are going to talk a little bit about that. Chief Surpass will be followed by Ronnie Jones for the State Police, Iftikhar Ahmed with the airport, and Justin Augustine with the Regional Transit Authority. Chief.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. What a great day to be the police chief in the city of New Orleans. Our men and women stood up. They disappointed no one. They did not disappoint me. They worked hard. They worked 12-hour shifts. They didn't have days off. They met people in the neutral grounds. They met people in the intersections. They walked people across the street. One lieutenant even picked up a fallen Ravens baseball cap off his head and chased him down on the streetcar so he could give him back his hat. Now, what message of leadership did that show? We wanted this police department to be not only what we know now is the best crowd control department in the history of the world, we also wanted to be the most welcoming police department ever. And I can stand here and today tell you that's the truth. I walked the streets of the French Quarter in downtown Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. and I saw as many Saints jerseys as I saw anybody else's jerseys. And people from all over this country said, we are glad to be here. Your officers are doing a great job. I'm just glad to be one of the many 300-plus outside law enforcement agencies that helped us. Glad to be one of the many public safety people, fire, EMS. Glad to be one of the people who can say, we delivered the Super Bowl, and for us, it's only the third quarter. We got another quarter left. That starts tomorrow night around 7 o'clock. So, Mr. Mayor, the department delivered for you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
All right. Ronnie?
That's okay, I'm small. Good afternoon. You're going to get Ronnie Jones right eventually. You're still in the legislature, still Ronnie Johns. Glad to be here. Colonel Edmondson, from the outset, was determined to be a part of this, to support New Orleans Police Department. It was a local event. We understood that. But we brought an unprecedented number of officers in from around the state. Somewhere between 1/4 and 1/3 of our entire organization was in the city of New Orleans last week. We were glad to be part of what we were able to do here. I think we put together a seamless blanket of security, if you will, over this city. I'm a resident. I live here. I have never seen as many police officers and as many police officers working with other police officers and doing just a damn good job of making people in this city feel safe and everybody who came for a visit, because we want them to come back. This was the Super Bowl for the city of New Orleans, but this was bigger than that. This was the whole state on display, and we didn't want to miss an opportunity. We're glad to be a part of it. We'll be back for Mardi Gras.
Thank you very much. Iftikhar, Airport.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't think that we would have done so well without you, and thank you for your leadership. The airport broke many records this Monday, including the passengers. And I want to just say one thing is that I'm thankful to my staff, and I'm grateful that I get the opportunity to work with them every day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Iftikhar. Justin Augustine, the Regional Transit Authority.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to say this. I am so proud to be part of this team. The men and women you see standing alongside me, you've heard all the accolades, but I tell you, what you haven't heard is the countless number of hours everybody's put in with their staffs and their respective assets. And it all worked. Mr. Mayor, to you, we could not have done this without this great leader for the city of New Orleans. Now, as the leader of the Regional Transit Authority, I'd like to tell you this. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you to everybody. The streetcar lines were full. The streetcar project was completed, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Justin.
And to the NFL fan base and to the locals, you guys rocked. You rode the public transportation services as we asked you to the fact that on that Saturday, we had a 245% increase in ridership alone on the Canal Street line. Your patience, your enduring spirit allowed my drivers to do their jobs, to be the best ambassadors for this great city. So thank you so very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Justin. Andy Copland, the Chief Administrative Officer for the city that helped pull all of this together.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As some of you heard before, our mayor gave us a vision that guided how all of us prepared. He said, I want folks to come in off the airport into a new renovated terminal, greeted by friendly employees, getting into a clean cab with a credit card and a GPS machine to take them downtown, down clean highways, down under a train trestle that was repainted, on off-ramps that had been cleaned, down streets where police were directing traffic so that it would move quickly, so that they could have a great experience from the moment they arrived till the moment they departed. And that's what our focus has been. So the back of the house team of city employees and contractors, I have the great privilege of thanking today. And I want to start with Deputy Mayor Jerry Sneed, who leads our Homeland Security and Emergency Ops, who's been preparing with his state and federal partners and his partners across the region. Chief Surpass, his officers, Chief Parent, his firefighters, Dr. Elder, and the ambulance drivers. All of those folks have been on duty, not just in the past week or two, but through months and years of planning to make sure we undertook this and succeeded. To Deputy Mayor Michelle Thomas, who oversaw operations on all city responsibilities from permitting to cleanup. We had great cooperation and great work from our sanitation director, Cynthia Lear, from Ann McDonald and Park and Parkways, from our partners at the DDD, Kurt Weigel and Richard McCall, from property management, George Patterson. Everybody rose to the occasion and did what they needed to do. In terms of permitting in the clean zone and the special events team, Scott Hutchinson, Courtney Bagnaris, Jared Munster, and all of the team who worked so hard to put together the permits, meeting weekly to make sure that vendors got to get their permits timely and that the city was set up for success. I can't go without mentioning the broad shoulders of our taxi cab director, Malachi Hull, and the airport team, our partners in Jefferson and Kenner, who again, under Michelle's leadership, implemented with the council's support the mayor's vision for new permitting for our taxi cab system, and it worked. To Deputy Mayor Grant and the Capital Projects team, Vince Smith, Mark Jernigan, Danny Galloway, who fixed your roads, who got the streetlights operating, who made sure the capital projects were done on time and that the orange cones got out of the way. As the mayor said, these projects were not just delivered for the Super Bowl, they were delivered for the city of New Orleans on time for the Super Bowl, but they'll be here and enjoyed by all of our residents for years to come. And I want to thank, of course, the Sewer and Water Board and the RTA and the Convention Center, who are our partners in those capital projects. Deputy Mayor Morse, Deputy Mayor Arata leading the mayor's office and the communications team, standing up the Joint Information Center, which was pulled into action on Sunday night in particular, but all week long, did all of the hard work of making sure that our story got out, and to our procurement and finance and legal team, making sure that we were able to bring all of this together for the city. So, as the chief said, we've got 7 days of Mardi Gras beginning tomorrow. So this team, who's been on for months in planning, who's been on the job for the last 2 weekends, has now got 7 more days of extraordinary work to do. We will rise to the occasion as we have been for the city of New Orleans, and I would just urge all of my fellow citizens of this great city to give the folks a shout out to your cops on the street. Thank them. To your sanitation workers. Give them a thank you. They are working long and hard hours so that they could help our city at our moment on the national stage shine. We've done it. And to keep the city as clean as it's been, it's up to all of us to make sure that the compliments that we've heard over the last week, I've never seen New Orleans so clean. Who's heard that? It's up to all of us to make sure that that stays the course for the next year. We can make that happen, but only with the support of the citizens of this great city. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Andy. None of this would be possible without great partnerships, and we have our 2 council-at-large members here that I'd like to come ask speak on behalf of the council, and then have Mayor Yenny from Kenner and President Young from Jefferson Parish, and then after that we'll take questions. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed Mark Romick, my guy. Yeah. Mark, come on up. This guy has been unbelievable for us, and then we'll call up the elected officials. Mark Romick.
It's my height back there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do want to just say a few things, and Kelly Schultz is here from the CVB, who's been a great partner throughout, along with the Restaurant Association and the Hotel and Lodging Association, for really helping pull together the 75,000 people that work in the industry 24/7 to put the best foot forward and to show the world how we are the most hospitable city in the United States. We were at 100% occupancy throughout the weekend. We had 150,000 people come down to Wildenberg Park for the Verizon Super Bowl Boulevard, which exceeded all of our expectations. And as was said earlier, a lot of visitors, but there were a lot of Saints jerseys as well. So we know we had a lot of regional play coming down into the city to enjoy. Visitation touched many neighborhoods from City Park to Uptown to the New Orleans East. So the economic impact of this event spread around the region in a very, very strong way. We also wanted to let you know that we ended yesterday by having our host committee volunteers go out to both airports, Lakefront and Armstrong, and greet the visitors as they were departing and thank them for being in New Orleans for the Super Bowl. We're not sure of how many cities actually do that, but we're very proud to say that we actually take that extra step to do that. The mayor issued a thank you note to each of the visitors. They received a lapel pin. This was only received at the airport. This is a collector's item. And on the other side, there was a small message of following your NOLA, come back and be part of NOLA again. And then an invitation to go to a website where we would ask them for their email address so that we can remarket to them, but also they could enter for a trip back to the city, a contest to come back to the New Orleans. So we think that we're touching over 40,000 visitors with that yesterday, and that's your copy, sir.
Thank you, Mark.
I also want to say another hat that Kelly and I wore throughout the week, and a number of other public relations professionals in the community included work in the media center. And I got to give hats off to Ryan Burney and his team from the mayor's office for all the coordination that they did. Our entire team was on message. We were putting out the important points that New Orleans is a great place to live, to work, to visit, and to host Super Bowls. And that was our message, and we believe that the message was heard loud and clear. 120 million or so people watched the game on television, plus all the great stories that were emanating out of the city last week. So we think New Orleans and Louisiana, along with our neighboring parishes, received good play on this. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your leadership. It was a great experience for everybody.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Jackie Clarkson, on behalf of the council.
Well, it's all been said, but we can say from the City Council, thank you, Mr. Mayor, for letting us be a part of it. It was a privilege to be a part of not just a Super Bowl, which was super. This was a super city. For the last month, we have been cutting ribbons and breaking ground across the entire city. This is a Super Bowl that touched every part of this city, from Algiers to Lower Nine, playgrounds, neighborhoods, investment in infrastructure. No one was left out of this game. It was phenomenal. No one sat the bench. This was supremely, exquisitely orchestrated. The council felt like we were playing in some fine orchestra, being led by our mayor, and thank you, Mayor Yenny, for being here, and President Young for being here. This was multi-parish. We loved doing it as part of a great big team. Thank you very much.
It was a privilege for Kenner to be the first place that a lot of people touched down in the greater New Orleans area at the airport. It was a delight to see Boeing 747s at the airport, and it wasn't Air Force One. So that was a first that I've seen living in Kenner 36 years. So, we worked very hard with the mayor's office in New Orleans to make sure everything went smoothly with the director of the airport. And I can tell you, if Chief Parent ever retires on you, I think Deputy Mayor Arata puts out fires really good. So she's excellent at that. And the working relationship we've had has been very good. So I want to thank the city of New Orleans, Jefferson Parish, for working so closely with us to aid the city of New Orleans. Both Kenner policemen and the sheriff's deputies assisted with New Orleans police, and we were delighted to do that to help, because it's all about coming together, and that's what we did. And it's my privilege to introduce Parish President Young.
Mr. Mayor, good to be with you. Look, with all the money you've made from the Super Bowl, perhaps you could afford to air condition this room a little bit better. It's a little hot in here.
The state made all the money.
I was standing behind Charles Rice and told him I had his back, and he moved to the side. I don't know why. But in any event, in all seriousness, I want to thank you and your team for the superlative job you did. James and Mary, thank you. This showed that we can be a world-class city and region. And now that we've done it for Super Bowl, let's not stop the momentum. Let's approach our jobs as every week is a Super Bowl. And let's keep the city looking the way it is. And let's keep this momentum going in terms of regional cooperation. Because I'll add one thing to you: one city, one voice, one fight, one region.
I'll take it.
As we move forward. But I just came here to support you, Mr. Mayor, and your team. And since we're using football and the Super Bowl as an analogy, it's been said that superstars win games, but teams win championships. This team that you've assembled, and everybody who had a part of this, including the volunteers, did an excellent job, and it shows what we're capable of. So let's just continue the momentum and move forward so we can continue to hit on all 8 cylinders. And thank you and your team for the great job everyone did, and we're just here to support you as we move forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's great part. All right. I think that's it. We have any questions?
We'll take questions on the technical nature of the outage after. Other questions?
Anything else? Any questions about the?
When is Riverbound Cloisters going to reopen? I see they're still moving stuff.
Wednesday afternoon or Thursday morning, depending on how fast they can get it done, but soon.
lot has been said about the 2018 Super Bowl and wanting to get it here. Is what happened with the outages going to make that any more difficult for you, or are you still really confident that maybe it's not a slam dunk, but?
I think Commissioner Goodell was asked that question the other day, and he answered it emphatically that it wasn't going to have any bearing on that whatsoever. For those that are writing about this event, and for those of you that were here for the weeks leading up to the event, I think that you can attest to the fact that before that 34 minutes began, this was as near perfect a Super Bowl as the history of the country has ever seen. And that 34 minutes really, this is not just hyperbole, is not going to overshadow the spectacular experience that all of the visitors, all of the corporate executives, all of the visitors had, and all of the residents had. It was clearly one of the best that's ever been held, and we can certainly do it again. We'll figure out what happened, and we'll fix it.
On the long list of contingencies for what could happen, was the Super Bowl losing power on it? And
Yes.
what was going through your mind?
My heart stopped. It wasn't my mind. My heart stopped. Of course, because you always, you know, when you anticipate events, there are lots of you anticipate. The ones you worry about the most are major homeland security events. That's what you really worry about. And, of course, that never happened. You worry about other events happening outside of the dome that you can't control. That didn't happen. The one good thing about how we responded to the event in question was that there was no panic in the stadium. Everything was held. You had 85, 90,000 people in that stadium. Everything got back to normal in a very safe and peaceful way. And those contingencies worked. But, of course, it's on the list of things that you worry about and have nightmares about. Sometimes they come true.
Take a last one, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah.
Congrats, everybody.
Thank you.
The question I have is that Forbes magazine.
Plus, the game got more interesting after the blackout, didn't it?
A writer for Forbes today said that we shouldn't have a Super Bowl until we get a new stadium.
We have a new stadium. We have a new stadium. So, like, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I just want to say this, that the blackout is not going to define for the people of New Orleans this Super Bowl, no matter what anybody says about it. It was a spectacular event for us. The city of New Orleans really shined. We showed America what it looks like to use an event like this to rebuild a great American city from soup to nuts. I've said this many times, and I'll say it again. It happens to be absolutely true, that 7 years ago we were 15 feet underwater, and on the bottom of every list that mattered. On every objective standards, we performed higher and better than almost every city, and that we took this 2.5 years in the Super Bowl to help rebuild all of the city, not just some of the city, and notwithstanding the 34-minute hiatus, which you can't deny it happened. I wish it wouldn't have, just like I guess football players wish they wouldn't fumble the ball, or quarterbacks wish they wouldn't throw interceptions, or coaches wish that they wouldn't call bad plays, or referees wish that they picked up every holding call that they should have picked up. But things like that happen, and we recovered from it, but it will not define the Super Bowl experience. We won't let it. There's an old saying in New Orleans that we won't bow down. We don't know how. That's something that's in our DNA. And we feel really good about the work that we did, and we feel really spectacular about how we shined on the world stage. And that 34 minutes, as I said, is not going to cast a shadow over the accomplishments of the people of the city of New Orleans.
All right. Thank you all again.